What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Fringe. If you thought Mark Carney was serious when he said he was going to expand the country's economic presence, if you thought he was going to make us an economic powerhouse, a trading powerhouse, boy, do I have a bridge I want to sell you. Mark Carney's doing none of that. In fact, this is why I still don't understand why Premier Danielle Smith continues to push the rhetoric that, hey, we want a united Canada. I think at some point she could start to maybe not necessarily promote independence in Alberta. It would be like putting a bazooka in her face and pulling the trigger. But she could at least start to say, hey, look, I don't think anything's going to happen. I don't think these guys are going to work with us. I want to show you Dane Lloyd, my Conservative MP, tweeting out, shocking, Liberals are pushing ahead with their gas car ban, driving up car prices by $20,000 and putting 40,000 Canadian jobs at risk. Only Conservatives will protect your right to choose the vehicle you want at a price you can afford. I don't really buy the rhetoric that comes from the Conservatives anymore, because the Conservatives actually sided with the Liberals earlier this week for sweeping powers on Bill C-5. I don't understand that one. I really don't understand how anybody can back such a tragic policy. Granting, well, I can to a certain extent. These guys just want any power they can get their hands on. The government always wants power that they don't have, and they never give it back. For once, I agreed with Elizabeth May. If you want to go check out that video, go have a look from the other day. But what's funny here is that this article comes out from the National Post. Good old Tristan Hopper. And he covered how the Prime Minister stole freedom. He's a great journalist. If you've never read the first reading series on the National Post, it's one of the few regular articles that I can actually get behind, because Tristan's a pretty good journalist. Let's take a look at what he talks about here. It looks like the Liberals are still planning to ban gas-powered cars. The public hates it and automatically say it's impossible, but Carney government is staying the course. This is how you know pipelines aren't going to go through. LNG isn't going to go through. We're not going to see any kind of trading corridors. This is all smoke and mirrors. It's all a show. One trick pony. We talk about it, we talk about it, we talk about it, we promise the world, we deliver nothing. That's the way that this government's going to operate. Although Carney government may have dispensed with the widely unpopular consumer carbon tax, which of course they just rolled it down to zero and put it onto the industrial carbon tax, Environment Minister Julie Bruen, I know I'm mispronouncing that on purpose, confirmed earlier this week that they're staying the course on an environmental policy that's almost as controversial. In the House of Commons on Monday, she said that there would be no changes to the Trudeau-era plan to ban the sale of gas-powered cars by 2035. So in a place where we have snow 6 months out of the year minimum, on average, we'll say not minimum, but on average, you're going to put in electric vehicles that can't handle our weather conditions, that we don't have the power grid to sustain. This is rich coming from them. If you don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to electric vehicles, they're great for cities like Vancouver, where they typically only get snow for a few days out of a year, where it's mostly raining. They're good in places like California, where you don't see any snow. But as soon as you add the cold to electric vehicles, let's say it's minus 30, will your vehicle start? Absolutely. The problem being, you're not getting the full charge within that vehicle in order to power your car. So when a vehicle's at 100%, you're probably only going to get about 60% or less of its battery charge by using it in the winter. Those vehicles are not made for Canadian climate. I'd also like to see how they plan on trucking things around the country. We've seen how cities have done so far with their electric transit buses, let alone semi-trucks, trucks in general, for Alberta's working class, or those around the country who drive pickup trucks. What the hell are they going to do? In late 2023, the Liberal government announced a system of mandated sales quotas on new vehicles, under which the sales of new gas or diesel-powered vehicles would become prohibited, not just unavailable, but prohibited by 2035. The proposal has not polled well in October. An Ipsos poll found that 66% of Canadians thought the 2035 timeline was unrealistic. Of course it's unrealistic. Second of all, the government has no right to tell Canadians what they can buy. Like, this is where I get so sick and tired of this, with the whole elbows up thing, with the whole, oh, we're not bringing American products into Canada no more because we don't like the way Donald Trump's handling things. Get a life. That's what's unrealistic. The government's job is to form policy, not to tell you what you can and can't do with your life. They're not here to grant you permission. This is what's called free market. You have the choice. If you want to buy an electric vehicle and you want to huff your farts and save the environment, go ahead. Go ahead, spend more money, buy an electric vehicle, enjoy the downfalls of running one in Canadian climate. But you can't take away somebody's options. You can't just restrict a product because it aligns with your ideologies. That's a dictatorship. It says here that a NANAS poll from 2024 in May found that just 30% of respondents endorsed a total ban of the use of gas-powered cars and SUVs. So people would say, well, then why are they doing it? Follow the money. There's people who stand to get very rich off of this. The federal government's own research has warned that Ottawa is falling well short of the charging infrastructure and electricity generation that would be required to meet the EV mandate. Rolling blackouts here, folks. Not only that, but think about how long it takes to charge a vehicle. You're going to have lineups all over the roads of people waiting multiple hours to charge their vehicles, even on a quick charge. A report published last July by Natural Resources Canada estimated that it could cost as much as $300 billion to prepare the country for a future in which the sale of new gas-powered cars becomes illegal. That right there is the kicker, folks. The cost to prepare the country. $300 billion. Where do you think that money's going? Who do you think's getting those contracts? Do you think it's hardworking, blue-collar Canadians that just want to get their hands dirty and help save the environment? Or could this be another GC Strategies or Dalian trying to take people's money in contracts that really they're just buddies of the federal government? They're going to have their pockets padded. This is for context. There are currently 26.3 million registered motor vehicles in Canada. An expenditure of $300 billion would be equivalent to spending $11,500 for every single vehicle currently on the road. At the time of the report's publication, there was about 30,000 EV charging ports across Canada. 30,000 EV charging ports. And I know people saying, well, Fringe, that's 10 years from now. They can make a lot more between now and then. But you think about that. 30,000 EV charging ports for 40 million Canadians. Doesn't make a lot of sense. It's estimated that to keep up with the EV mandate, Canada would need to boost this by 679,000 by 2040. In other words, Canada would need to double its total number of charging ports in a single year and then maintain that pace for at least 15 additional years. That's not going to happen. If infrastructure didn't keep pace, the report warned that the worst impacts would be felt in rural, remote, and Indigenous communities and lower income areas. Oh, you mean like 15-minute cities? You mean like areas where they want to keep you locked in? This is why I'm saying go and read Mark Carney's values book. Don't buy it. Find a way to read it for free. I know there's places online you can read excerpts. You can get it from a local library. I've read Mark Carney's values, and he has none. All this guy wants to do is rip up the country and pat his pockets and get the hell out. Don't forget, he's an outsider. It says Canadian automakers have long warned that the mandates did not track with consumer preferences. The government can only do so much to entice consumers to purchase vehicles that they would like to see implemented. That consumers will choose what they need, Frank Voss, president of Toyota Motor Manufacturing Canada, told Bloomberg News last year. Here's the problem. If the government really wanted to do something, they would come up with some form of a program to encourage Canadians to get electric vehicles. Like, I don't know, taking away the $30,000 battery replacements or bringing down the price of said vehicles. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but vehicles like Volkswagen's bus, you guys remember the old Volkswagen hippie vans? Well, they've come out with an electric model and rebranded those vehicles, and I believe they start somewhere around the $100,000 range. There are Teslas on the market that start at $80,000 just to get into a vehicle, a car, a sedan. We're not talking an SUV. We're not talking a truck. What do you think people are going to be driving in this new utopia that the Liberals promote? And how are Canadians, at a time when they can't even pay their mortgages or buy groceries, able to afford to suddenly scrap their gas-powered vehicles, go and buy one that's going to be 1/3 of the performance, and give them a kidney in order to pay for it? Something needs to be done about this Canadian government, and something needs to be done fast, and people need to start telling their MPs, even if they're conservative, that they can take their green agenda and shove it. As soon as Canadians start to rise up to that, they'll have to peel back, because when it becomes more and more unpopular, to the point that it is not feasible even for them to be corrupt and line their pockets, they'll have to find something else. They'll have to find a new grift. But for right now, this is a threat to Canadians' future. The threat of reality is, are we prepared to have a market flooded with electric-only vehicles that don't perform, that don't suit our needs, that don't suit our climate, just because it's going to make the government rich? I don't think so. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. If it's your first time here, I hope this vehicle, talking about electric vehicles, I hope this video has earned your subscription. Make sure you're clicking that subscribe button, and I promise I won't try to screw up words like that again. Hit the bell for all notifications so that you're alerted anytime a new video or vehicle drops here on the channel, and you're never missing a beat. Join me live here on the channel each and every Friday night for Friday Night Fringe, our live streaming weekly show where I'm joined by the beautiful Mrs. Fringe as we go back and forth throughout the YouTube community to hear what you guys have to say outside of making this video, discussing everything that happened this week in politics, everything that we know that's coming up in the week ahead, as well as your Q&A. I look forward to chatting with you guys each and every week, hearing what you have to say, but I most importantly look forward to chatting with you this Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central here on the channel. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.